in the process of my getting so obsessed with my work, I was not paying attention to my health.
Spot on, Sonia. I'm sure many of us can relate to this. We prioritize our work and other people to the point that we get sick. Are you one of them? And maybe at first we think, oh, maybe it's just acid reflux, maybe because I've eaten late, maybe because I've been sleeping late. And the next thing you know, you'll have other illnesses as well. Our episode for tonight is full packed with wisdom and valuable stories that will help us navigate through GERD and our gut health. Are you ready? So, stay tuned.
Hi, Sonia. Welcome to the Vegetable Podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast, Camille. I'm truly honored.
I'm really excited because you know what? You're one of those few people whose energy is really very high. And
Oh my
you know
God.
what? It's like,
Seriously?
yes, yes. These are serious topics, right? But you know, your energy is like so light and all that. So I'm really looking forward for this
Wow.
podcast.
Thank
Yes.
you so
And
much. I take that as a compliment, I guess.
yes, yes. And we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about GERD.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, my favorite topic on earth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so Sonia,
yeah, shoot.
I've done a little bit of my research and then you started as an MBA, but later you switched career to becoming a digestive health specialist. Can you share to me what inspired you to take that journey and push you for that switch?
Okay, that's a really good question, Camille. Thank you for asking me this. Well, this really takes me back to what I call my past life, where, yes, I did study business management and I worked in the corporate world for like over 15 years in senior management positions. And I was a workaholic, highly ambitious type A personality. I'm still trying to tone down. I'm not totally out of my type A. But yes, it did take a big toll on me because I used to work with my US counterparts at different time zones. So I was
Yes.
up at different times of the night talking to my clients. As a result, I became a workaholic, obsessed with my work. I'm very driven, as you can figure out from my videos, and
Yes.
became so passionate about my work that I forgot about. In the process of my getting so obsessed with my work, I was not paying attention to my health. With my work, I was not paying attention to my health. And because
Yes.
of the time zone difference, I was not sleeping on time, not eating on time. I would eat junk food, live on caffeine, lots of sugar, lots of chocolate. And it did definitely take a big toll on my gut health. And then after I got married, we moved to Germany for a year where we lived.
Mm.
And my husband, we were both foodies, my hubby and me. So
Yes.
my husband got seriously ill and was diagnosed with pancreatitis. That time my daughter was only 3 years old, and I
Mm.
was all alone in Germany with him in the hospital for almost 19 days. And I do not remember eating food. I remember living on coffee and chocolate because I
Okay.
had to fend for my 3-year-old daughter and in a country where nobody's like, the language was the barrier. So
Yes.
long story short, all this combined together with unhealthy diet, lifestyle, poor sleep, and a lot of stress is the perfect recipe for GERD.
Yes.
So that's when, after we came back to Australia, I decided that I was not in a position to work because I was on the GERD medication known as the PPI, proton pump inhibitor, and that causes a lot of dangerous side effects, which I will explain to you as we go along.
Mm.
And because of that, I was not able to go back to my career, my industry. So I decided, let me take a break and do something to heal my body and my gut. And that's how I ended up studying nutrition. And I became so equally passionate about it. And it's my mission to help others not suffer the way I've suffered and to help them overcome emotional eating and get completely healed from GERD. It's like 17 years now since I'm GERD free. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It's like all.
Wow.
Yes, and functional medicine has really helped me. Yep, I hope I've spoken enough. Yeah.
Wow.
Back
Now I understand why you're so, the energy is so high because you're type
to
A girl.
Yes, I'm a type A personality.
Yeah, and
Toned down to type B. Yeah.
I really understand these time differences because it really increases the acidity in our stomach. So yes, it will definitely trigger not just GERD.
Yes, when you don't sleep consistently at a fixed
Mhm.
time every day, it changes your whole life. Your whole life gets changed because you get stuck in what is known as the survival mode, and that keeps your body in what is known as the fight and flight response by activating your sympathetic nervous system. So it just basically shuts your digestion down and causes a lot of chronic inflammation, which is the root cause of most chronic disease like GERD and IBS issues, etc.
Yeah. So that moment that you realize you had GERD, Sonia,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, what is GERD exactly?
Very good question. So basically, GERD is a chronic inflammatory lifestyle disease. Okay. It can come to anyone who does not manage their sleep, their diet, and eat a lot of junk food. So basically, what happens is that there is what is known as ring of muscles known as the lower esophageal sphincter or the LES that connects the esophagus within our GI tract to our stomach, and it opens and closes accordingly to, when the food goes into our stomach. It closes and opens up for normal people. But in GERD patients, because of the unhealthy diet, lifestyle, smoking, corticosteroids, NSAIDs, non-steroidal inflammatory drugs, a lot of stress combined with, lack of sleep, poor exercise, unhealthy habits, all that stuff. And also like maybe obesity, hiatal hernia, all these things connected with it. It relaxes the LES, which is that flap, and the food regurgitates back into the esophagus, which is not in normal people. So it's really critical to manage a lot of factors. It is just not taking, supplements and diet change alone will never heal GERD. It's a lot of factors together combined which heals GERD. So GERD, the full form is gastroesophageal reflux disease. So it is a disease. It is a chronic disease. And how is it diagnosed as GERD? When you have these symptoms more than twice a week. If it is just like maybe occasionally, it could be acid reflux, which is a regurgitation of food, like you have a bitter taste in your mouth, all that. But when it becomes really chronic and it starts eroding your esophagus and it causes like a chest pain and all those kind of symptoms and like bloating and it's really bad, then it becomes classified as chronic GERD.
Okay. Sometimes I do feel that acid reflux from time to time, especially if I'm hungry or if I've eaten a lot and it's already nighttime. Usually the acid feeling in my throat, it really happens. But you know what, Sonia, there are many people who confuse GERD with other respiratory problems because this itchiness in the throat. It can also feel like you're having upper airway infection, right? Or it could be
asthma.
something like that. There are many things. So what are the key symptoms that you can tell that the person is really having GERD and not a respiratory problem?
Very good question. This is a very tricky question because a lot of the symptoms of what is known as silent reflux or LPR are very similar. Like you would not be able to figure out whether it is a respiratory issue and a lot of my patients go to ENT and are doing like 2000 things, but it's actually silent reflux. Now, some of the common symptoms are like a blocked nose, sinus, headache, ear pain, postnasal drip, and what is known as a globus feeling in the throat or a lump in the throat. Okay, so you feel like something is stuck, but there is nothing stuck. I have gone through that too. I used to feel something was stuck. I would push, like I would eat bread, I would eat a banana, thinking that, yes, I would feel like there's something stuck and I need to push it down. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why it was not going down. And then I used to realize that it was also connected with my sleep, my diet, especially if I ate some protein, it was not broken down. If I had not had a bowel movement that day, then that would be even worse. There would be a lot of regurgitation. And also, if I ate food late, like for example, if we should ideally finish eating our meals 3 hours before bedtime. So it's like if we finish eating our meals later in the night, then our digestion shuts down. It's gone to sleep. So you're basically putting more pressure on your body to digest when actually our digestion is gone to sleep. So we cannot digest the food, so it all regurgitates and comes up. Especially if you have a heightened hernia or you have like if you're obese, then it would be even worse. And also there is something known as stealth infections. Now, what are stealth infections? A lot of GERD patients, especially I have been on what has been prescribed the PPI, which is a proton pump inhibitor given by my doctor. Now,
Yes.
proton pump inhibitors are like brand omeprazole, pantoprazole. All these lower the stomach acid and promote an overgrowth of dangerous pathogens or bacteria in the gut. And over a long period of time, as per scientific evidence, this leads to dementia, osteoporosis, liver issues, a lot of chronic inflammation, and it can cause a lot of other related issues, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. This is all as per scientific evidence. So what do we do? Do we continue taking the PPIs and get more sick? Well, I am not saying that you should totally avoid taking it because it depends on, of course, your chronic condition and your
Yes.
situation. But this is where functional medicine comes into play. Functional medicine can heal your gut without the side effects of the long-term dangerous side effects of the PPIs, which is why I turned to functional medicine. So I had tested positive. I know you're not asking me this, but I had tested positive for something known as Helicobacter pylori, which I'm coming back to your question. So stealth infections like Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori, Candida, even commensal bacteria, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, parasites, all these can trigger what is known as a release of histamine from our body. And that could trigger your postnasal drip and give you silent reflux symptoms. Okay.
By it's more like having allergy.
Yes, so it can activate what is known as the mast cells within the body. Now, all this happens because what happens is that all this promotes when there is an overgrowth of dangerous pathogens and bad bacterial overgrowth, it creates holes within the tight junctions of our intestines known as a leaky gut. And this and all these bad bacterial overgrowth, dangerous pathogens and bad bacteria, undigested food particles, etc., enter the tight junctions and trigger what is known as autoimmune issues. And this is known as a leaky gut connected to the autoimmune issues, which will cause a lot of food intolerances. So suddenly now you are reacting to lactose, to every possible gluten, and anything you eat is making you bloated, and you're getting that lump in your throat and you don't know what's going on because now your gut is inflamed with bad bacterial overgrowth and infections, which you need to eradicate with a gut healing protocol using functional medicine supplements which have no dangerous long-term side effects.
You know what? I thought I'm just getting older that I became lactose intolerant.
No, I'll tell you something, but very good point. As we get older, our digestion slows down and stomach acid problems start happening. So a lot of people who never had any issues will end up with low stomach acid, especially if you have been on steroids, antibiotics for a long time, have had COVID, history of COVID, long COVID also. So a lot of these can lead to asthma symptoms connected with your breathing difficulties. So a lot of chronic GERD patients have asthma. A lot of them have breathing difficulties. I had swallowing difficulties because the esophageal, the tube, it becomes tighter and more narrower with a lot of the reflux coming in. And so you have like regurgitation, you have a bitter taste in the mouth, you have like, it erodes your teeth, plus the acid reflux. My dentist telling me, are you smoking? And I never used to smoke. So even smoking, alcohol, sleepless nights, all this triggers chronic inflammation leading to GERD.
Oh my gosh. So it's like a lot of things, I just thought it's just reflux. That was my basic understanding that, it's just reflux, so that's GERD. But you know what? Now that you said it, it's more like, it's not just GERD, it's like, it will lead to something like an autoimmune disorder.
Yes, it can lead to IBS issues, which are all these symptoms are IBS, like the bloating, the irregular bowel movements, constipation, diarrhea, undigested food particles in your stool are a clear sign of a leaky gut. And this is all caused when we do not take precaution in time. And honestly, I was one of those emotional eaters and a big foodie, and I was not ready to give up a lot of my foods, which is why I had to virtually give up my career. So we all have that choice, and I had to study to heal my gut because I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I was not getting healed.
Yes. Imagine there are many people who are talking about emotional eating now. Can I ask you a little just what is
Yes, of
emotional
course.
eating is?
So emotional eating is like, a lot of these stealth infections like Candida, H. pylori, even SIBO, etc. They, because of the low stomach acid, we have a deficiency of certain vitamins like vitamin D, B12, and iron. And when there is a deficiency caused because of the PPI, when the PPI is taken, it causes
Lower
all
the
these
acid.
to get, yes, the
Yes.
stomach acid gets low. All these vitamins get deficient. Okay, so we get deficient in them. And when we are deficient in them, it increases our anxiety and it increases our depression because of the PPIs. So it becomes a vicious cycle. And so instead of we are unable to control ourselves, I remember eating a whole chocolate cake because I used to be a chocoholic, a foodie,
Oh
a
my
sugar
gosh.
addict. But I was never obese. I was always very conscious of
Yeah,
my weight.
like
I
me.
had, but I became a sugar addict. I could not control myself because I had tested positive for stealth infections, which cause all these, So once I fixed my iron levels, I fixed my B12, I fixed my vitamin D levels, and I healed my gut and I eradicated the dangerous pathogen, which was the H. pylori. Then I was able to absorb nutrients better and my anxiety disappeared and I was able to heal my emotional eating. Also, there are plenty of other ways, like you have to balance and regulate your nervous system, regulate your emotions, and do a lot of like prayer. For me, prayer is my
Me
biggest.
too.
God is for me. God is the biggest healer. Honestly, no matter what you do. And also another thing is we have to be very aware of our thoughts. Like whenever I would feel pressurized to reaching out for that chocolate or that donut or whatever, I would replace it with some tea, like a
Okay.
decaf tea. I used to also be a caffeine addict. I gave up everything, sugar, a lot of caffeine, all my chocolate, all my bread, everything gone, and I had to do this to heal my gut. So it takes a while to what is known as practice mindful living and mindful eating, where we are consciously aware, we are mindful. Mindfulness is where we are consciously aware of what it does to our body. So when I'm about to reach out for that chocolate, I would think now 200 times, is it going to worsen my GERD? Is it going to make me sick? Is it going to land me in the hospital? I don't want it. End of story. Finito.
Okay, that's nice. You said you've been advocating for functional medicine
Yeah.
instead of just using the mainstream medicine. So
Yeah.
can you explain what a functional medicine is and why you chose that path, Sonya?
Okay. So, like I explained to you earlier, that the GERD medication known as the PPIs cause a lot of dangerous side effects, long-term dangerous side effects like dementia, osteoporosis, and
Yes.
anxiety. And the anxiety hits the roof. So
Yes.
that is why I had no option but to heal my body without the dangerous side effects, the long-term dangerous side effects. And functional medicine, what it does is we identify through what is known as a GI map testing. So we do a testing of the gut. Now, what happens is you go to the doctor, they just give it to you. Now, how many times I must have taken PPIs? I have no idea because that time I was ignorant. I was like anybody else. I did not know what I was doing, which is why my body became so bad. But with functional medicine, we fix the root cause. We identify why this is happening through testing. We do this GI map, which is a comprehensive gut microbiome DNA testing to identify any dangerous pathogens, commensal bacteria, overgrowth of parasites, whatever it may be. Once we eradicate that, we give a specific protocol. A protocol is basically a 3-month gut healing kind of a procedure where we would identify the dangerous pathogens, then we would eradicate it with certain specific herbal supplements which are tested by scientists globally. There is plenty of literature backing every ingredient which is used, scientific evidence. My parents was a research scientist, PhD. So for me, even my dad earlier, when I told him that I wanted to do this, he said, what is this BS like, basically. I said, then when I showed him, I had to show because I had said, okay, Dad, this is the scientific evidence connected with it. Then he was like, he was sold out to it. And he said, I am going to start it. So he started it, which really helped him because he developed IBS issues. I don't want to talk about it. I get a little emotional.
Sorry.
So it really helped him. And if it's helped me and it's helped tremendous amount of my clients, like, I feel this is a blessing. I wish I had known this earlier. I would not have put myself through this PPI and landed with IBS issues. I was a healthy, normal person. I was able to live my life totally healthy. I could eat everything. And it became so bad. I couldn't even eat regular food. So it was quite torturous for me as well as my family. I'm sorry, I've gotten a bit emotional.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So I
sharing.
guess
Go on.
talk about my dad and all comes out, boom, So
Yes.
yeah, so it's been quite a journey for me. And I feel that once we understand how to reduce inflammation, we change the way we think, we change the way we eat, we change the way we live. And we want to make sure that we don't repeat our mistakes so that it doesn't come back to us again. This is very critical. And unless we eradicate that bacteria and identify it through a gut healing, through the GI map, and do a gut healing protocol where we will replenish, we will restore the gut microbiome balance. Now, what is a gut microbiome? You haven't asked me this.
Yes,
So
yes, you haven't.
microbiome, yes, let me just explain it to you. The gut microbiome is an ecosystem. It contains fungus, virus, all this living in harmony. But because of the PPI, the steroids, the corticosteroids, the antibiotics, but the NSAIDs, non-steroidal inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, aspirin, etc., it lowers our stomach acid, poor sleep, a lot of stress, unhealthy diet, unhealthy lifestyle. Like somebody dies in your family, somebody's hospitalized, then our stress goes through the roof. All this lowers the stomach acid and the gut microbiome gets imbalanced. The bad bacteria starts growing and the good bacteria starts going down. And that causes all the bloating, the abdominal pain, the cramping. That is why functional medicine does the testing. So we know exactly what we are looking at. We know exactly what we are working for. What exactly are we talking about? We're not just hitting some darts in the air. We know exactly okay, you come to me and say, I'm having, let's say, asthma or breathing problems. So I will know exactly that, okay, it could be mold, it could be parasites, it could be. So I do the testing. And then with that, I know exactly which protocol and which supplements to give you because there are different supplements and different protocols for different things that you may test positive for. Understood?
Yes. Just a little. Functional medicine and integrative medicine, are they different, Sonia?
It is all connected in and yet similar and yet different. You can call it by whatever name you want to call it. At the end of the day, it should heal you. I couldn't care what you call it. Like, for example, there are different holistic approaches to healing, and there is something good in each one of them. I do believe each one of them has something good to contribute, but the testing is done in functional medicine, which is differentiating point, something which separates you out from the rest. Because I have so many clients all across the globe, especially Indians, who do a lot of Indian holistic function, medicine, healing, and they're not healed. They go and do a different, I don't want to talk about which ones they do, but they always say that, oh, I have done this for 3 months and I'm not healed. And I'm like, did you get your gut tested? Did you do the GMAT test? They said, no. So this is exactly the differentiating factor, because unless you test, you're just guessing and you're just hitting darts. You don't know what is the bacteria which is triggering it. And if you don't eradicate that particular bacteria, how are you going to be healed?
Yeah, so it's more like we're going to apply science and then we're going to mix the herbs.
Yes, this is like using scientific evidence.
Yes.
It's all backed by scientific evidence. Every single herb, every single ingredient, and its potency is backed by scientific evidence. I am the last person on earth to touch anything which is not backed by scientific evidence because of the way I have been brought up listening to jargon of science. That's how I was able to doing a business management degree to nutrition where there's no connection, like people who don't know.
True.
Yes. So when you connect science with lowering inflammation through all these herbs which are tested over time by research scientists and it is proven, then you can close your eyes and be at peace because you know that what you're doing is right. And the result is when you get a negative report, when it was positive and when it is negative, you know it has worked. It is not just something you're talking through your hat. And your symptoms disappear. You don't have any reflux. You don't have any regurgitation. You don't have any postnasal drip. There was a time I could not eat a lot of strawberries, spinach. Those would be blocked. I would be sneezing the house down. So I even developed asthma symptoms during COVID. I remember I went to the doctor. I thought, my God, I'm going to die because of the COVID. And so the doctor told me I should take an asthma pump. And when she told me that, I immediately knew that maybe my gut is a bit inflamed. I came back, I took some herbal supplements, all gone without the asthma pump.
I'm really thankful for that because you know what? I'm very scientific myself. That's my environment until I
What is your
realized
background?
I'm a nurse. So
Oh,
I'm
you're
very
a nurse.
yes,
Wow.
I'm very, very scientific and everything. But you know what? I've realized as I get older, I don't even want to drink the meds because I know the side effects. So I'm seeking something that is different. It's not something that can cause more harm than good in the long run, something sustainable. So, you know, it could be called anything, as you said, it could be just holistic, it could be functional, it could be integrative. But as long as it is sustainable in the long run and it would really heal you,
It
that's
works. It needs to work. It needs to
yes.
prove that it works. But I have to also give you caution in this. There are
Mm-mm.
lots of people who end up with low blood pressure. Okay. I need to talk about this
Oh, yes,
because
yes,
it's like some clients have low blood pressure. And
yes.
some of these supplements can lower blood pressure. So it's always critical to make sure your blood pressure is normal
Mhm.
and talk to a doctor side by side, especially for chronic ailments. Like some clients have like a lot of chronic issues combined together. It's not just GERD and IBS. They could have like type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, liver
Yes.
cirrhosis. I get like all kinds of clients. So when you have like a complicated case and you have low blood pressure, because these supplements on a long-term basis can lower blood pressure, that is the only long-term side effect, like the dangerous part. It's not dangerous in the sense it's like you need to know how much to take depending on your body. We are all different. We are all unique. We all have our unique gut microbiome, unique issues. So we
Yes.
need to monitor it only if you are a person who has very low blood pressure. That is the only thing. But otherwise, like it's worked for me, it's worked for millions of all my clients.
Yes.
So yeah.
So it's like if you have other chronic illnesses, you have to be careful because like sometimes it aggravates the side effects, right? So
Every client is different. Okay.
yes.
Now, if someone has like a blood pressure issue, is on metformin, or if someone is on a thyroid medication like that levothyroxine or whatever it is, you
Yes.
have to make sure there are no drug interactions, which is what I check for.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I
yes.
always check for any drug interactions, which is why I have a disclaimer. I'm very, very particular about my disclaimer.
Yes,
The
yes.
disclaimer clearly says, one, you should not mix PPIs, the GERD medication, with functional medicine to prevent any drug interaction. And
Mm.
two, to declare if you are on any current medication, and to always consult your doctor if you are taking those medication to prevent any drug interaction. At the end of the day, I am not a doctor. I don't claim to be one. However, I am a very cautious person because I have been a GERD patient in my past. So, like for example, some people are on statins. So you have to make sure that if you're taking a particular supplement, either, and if there is a drug interaction and you check for a particular supplement, like maybe 1 out of 10, then you have to make sure the day you're taking that, maybe you don't take your statin, for example.
Okay. So there is a question in my head that I just wanna last minute question.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, yes. Because you know this PPIs. I've already told you, right, that there are some people who mistaken their respiratory problem as GERD. Maybe they think GERD is better than
Yes.
respiratory problems. So they are taking these PPIs thinking that this is the real problem. It's not a respiratory problem. In that moment, since PPIs lower the stomach acid, can they also cause diarrhea? Because we have talked about it a little, but I just want to ask this very specific question.
Okay, so the PPI's long-term dangerous side effects includes IBS symptoms, and IBS is constipation, diarrhea, bloating, abdominal pain, cramping, combined with the reflux, so you get the regurgitation, and then all that leads to the leaky gut, which can lead to the MCAS, which could lead to the autoimmune issue. So you have the postnasal drip. So it's all connected. So yes, it does lead to the longer you take PPIs, the higher probability of you getting IBS. Like I never had IBS.
Yes.
I had GERD, but I never had IBS. And then
Yes.
because of the PPIs, and that time in those days, there was a thing called Zantac was the name.
Yes,
It's
Zantac,
bad
very
now.
popular. Yes.
Yes, you remember Zantac. So I was on Zantac. I don't even remember how many times I took it because I used to just go to the doctor. Whatever the doctor said, I would blindly take it.
Yes.
So I have been on like Zantac for like God knows how long. And I ended up with IBS issues out of nowhere. A
Oh
perfectly
my
healthy
gosh.
person
Okay.
and who ended up with IBS. And because of that, when the stomach acid gets low, because of the long, the bad bacteria starts growing, and then eventually you end up with all these other issues. So you have to basically heal your gut to eradicate the bacteria. And you can gradually, you haven't asked me this, but I'm going to tell you, because some people are on a very high dosage of PPIs, like 40
Yes,
mg. I do
yes.
not advise that to go down immediately to zero. I would say
Okay.
taper it
Taper
off. Go
down.
Yes, 40 to 20 and 22, then slowly stop. And then gradually, meanwhile, you have to change your diet side by side, okay?
Okay.
And then order all the holistic, the functional medicine supplements, and then you slowly ease into it. So your gut doesn't have a drastic response and you're very like a smooth car. You're driving very smoothly and it's very nicely, everything is like all aligned and you have no reflux or you don't have a bad reaction. So I always advise clients, and of course you have to talk to your doctor before doing this, but to gradually do it. So, and you have to work on your nervous system and a lot of other things. There are lots of layers in healing. It's just never diet and supplements. I want to make this very clear because a lot of people come to me and say, oh, I'm just going to, and I'm like, no way. It's not just diet and supplements. There are like too many layers. There's lymphatic drainage, nervous system regulation, your sleep, your stress management, and you have to detox your gut, your liver health. So blood sugar regulation, unless you manage your blood sugar and stabilize your blood sugar, all these factors combined together with your environment. Are you living in a home where it's not emotionally stable? You have emotionally very high strung environment. All those factors are going to contribute to healing your gut. It's just never one size fits all.
Finally, Sonia, what can you say to our listeners out there who are suffering from GERD and a sign of hope that there is something out there that can really help them in the long run?
I can tell you one thing from my experience that there is nothing like permanent, okay? You can heal your gut and you can be GERD free. There is no way you can have GERD if you learn to manage your all these different layers. It's not an overnight miracle. There is no magic formula or a shortcut. But if you're consistent, if you're ready to put in a sacrifice and you're committed and you do this regularly, I don't have GERD now. It's like over 17 years, which is why I'm doing this to help other people. So you can heal your body. There is hope and you have the choice. The choice is with you. Each person has that choice. But if you are going to sit on and you're not going to move and you're not going to take the first step and you're not going to be ready for change, because this is all about change management. And it's only on the other side of change is growth, when we overcome and we're ready to overcome our fears. And when we are ready to take that first step, and if you have a doubt about a particular supplement, I can send you a zillion links on each supplement, all scientifically backed, proving its benefit. Okay. So I am the first person who has done all this research even before even coming out and making and doing all this. So this is to give you hope that you can get GERD free, you can get IBS free, but the choice is upon you and how you do it.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for shedding so much light on GERD, because sometimes people take it lightly until things really get so worse. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It's very, it's really inspiring that we start from, we have been sick, our family got sick, something like that. And then we don't want other people to suffer that. So thank you for sharing this mission with me.
Thank you, Camilla. It's been actually, I didn't expect it to be an emotional podcast. I just thought it's
Me
just a
too.
regular. But you touched the chord and it all came out. And honestly, I feel for every one of my clients because I have been a GERD patient too. And I know what it is to suffer and go through all the pain. So for me, it is not just, this is like for a lot of people business, but for me, this is much more than that because this is like
It's like
really
your
a mission to help people not repeat my mistakes and give up the foods which made me sick to begin with, like sugar and gluten and like a lot of stuff, which caffeine, and learn to live our life more balanced. So once we learn that, everything is possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sonia.
With God's grace above everything.
Amen.
Without God's grace, nothing will work. So number one is that. Yeah, spiritual
Thank you
health.
so much, Sonia. God
Thank
bless.
you so much, Camille. Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Yes.
Bye.
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 I hope you learned something valuable today and continue to support VeggieFit. Because here at VeggieFit, We may not still be fit and still far from being spiritual, but we're working on it every day. Thank you for listening and see you again in our next podcast.